clean air, clean water, then people can be physically healthy. The community structure is a determinant. So like William said, a tight-knit community is best because people are in a better collaborative mindset and they're closer together. So being sociable with people is easy, and then talking with each other. And then education is really important because you have to, people have to be aware of different community issues, and people have to be raised to take advantage of the already implemented aspects of community design, like the recycling bins or the marker cans. So education is really key.
So some solutions that we came up with, one of them is to kind of reorganize more analysis into the budget of the local and state governments and figure out are there areas where we're spending maybe too much money, or they're putting in money and they're not seeing the results they want. So ideally, if you're able to get more money from a local or state government, what we want to do is use that to subsidize local farmers or farmers markets, because the biggest reason that people are choosing fast food over local producers is price. So if we're able to drop the price on that, I mean, it obviously wouldn't be the same price as a meal from McDonald's, but if we're able to drop the price, then people will be more inclined to take advantage of that. Additionally, we can try to make stricter standards on emissions to help with, like Benji talked about, clean air and clean water, because that's really important for community design. So if we're able to do that, that would be one of the solutions. Another one is to provide incentives for businesses or schools who are recycling or composting. So maybe you get a financial kickback or something if your business is recycling a certain amount or something like that, so that people are actually motivated and incentivized to do this beyond just morals, if that's not what they feel. Another one is to promote community events more. When we were doing our research, we found that if you go to the Apple Valley website, they have a lot of different community events that are free that we never even heard of. So I think this needs to be promoted more, and people need to realize that they have all these opportunities locally to get out and meet new people and to participate in these activities, because we really didn't know about them before. And the last one is our best choice solution, which William will talk about, education.
Yeah, so the best choice solution is about education, and really the biggest obstacle with this solution is that I suppose a majority of the population is already grown and they're less likely to change their habits, I guess. So really the best way to educate is to educate the youth, I guess. So if we educate the younger kids in kindergarten and preschool, then they're more likely to grow up and maybe hopefully continue to be active and possibly pass it on into the next generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ms. Portfield once said that change requires many levels of support. So if we get the administrators and the teachers and students on board, then we will actually see change. And yeah, so if we get the people that teach the kids basic math and English to stop littering and go to these community events, then it'll hopefully stick with them.
Yeah, one thing is probably all of us composted at elementary school. They had the bins and you'd sort out your milk and all that, but then they stopped doing it in middle school, and we think that's probably the biggest reason why it wasn't so successful here at Eastview when they tried it about 10 years ago. So it does require many levels of support, and you do have to keep enforcing that as the kids grow up. You can't just have it in elementary school and then expect it to come super easy in high school. We really need composting, things like that, to be educated in middle schools.
Right, okay, so one of our interviews was with Jessica Schramm, and she has been the Apple Valley Natural Resource Coordinator for about 2 years now. And she says the biggest problem here in Apple Valley is
Emerald ash borer, which is the little bug in that thing of hand sanitizer there. And it's basically, it kills all of the, well, doesn't kill, it infests all of the ash trees in Apple Valley right now. So, well, not all of them, but it's a growing problem. So what she's trying to do is how to manage the trees that we have right now, and how to design a community that maybe doesn't have trees susceptible to invasive species like this. So, because right now we have a lot of trees lining our streets that are ash trees, and so she's trying to manage the removal, and then how to plant
she also talked passionately about lakes and how everything eventually goes to the waterways and eventually to the lakes. So, and ultimately, when you litter, you impair the lakes. So, and we also asked her if you had unlimited funds, what would you do with it? And she said education. So she herself agrees with our best choice solution.
Another key concept is that community is generational. Our communities are passed down to the next generation, and the more that we improve it and set a high standard of it, the better off the next generation will be.
So another current event, well, it's not really current event, but it's still relevant. It's from 1996. It's about basically Scandinavian countries and how their community design is very inclined to help the public's health. And so what they did is they had a lot of places for pedestrians to walk. They had a lot of, it was a tight-knit community like William talked about again. People were very social with each other. They weren't afraid to talk to each other, and then obviously that's a good thing if you're trying to integrate better community design. They involved the community, so the citizens of the community got together for different events a lot, and that was one of the solutions that we had. They also integrated natural areas into the community, so lots of green spaces led more people to want to get outside and be healthy. And yes.
And another question that we asked on our survey was how many times a month do you utilize public green space? And as you can see from this graph, like most people only use it 1 to 2 times a week or 0. Especially for the females, like a lot of them, a big chunk of them use it 0 times a week. And this is a problem, and this just shows like we have so many resources for green spaces like Lebanon Hills, and people aren't using them. So this means we need better promotion of them so people will know that they have this available to them and use it.
Okay, so we also asked people how often they recycle their recyclable waste. And we did find results that were kind of promising, I guess, but a lot of people said they didn't, which is kind of what Christina said, like we already have this infrastructure implemented, so, and people are paying for it, so it's kind of a shame that more people don't use it. There was a slight gender gap, I don't know if that's significant, but yes, we would like to see these numbers higher.
We asked the student body, where does your family primarily buy food? And 78.3% of males said they shop at grocery stores, and 88.2% of females said they shop at grocery stores. Although this is very promising, we'd like to see numbers grow for people shopping at farmers markets because of the large benefits, health benefits.
And that's where the subsidies might come in that we talked about as one of our solutions.
Okay, so another key concept we have is that community design improves its population's physical health. So like we talked about before, if a community plans to have green spaces and parks and trails and bike paths and stuff like that, then people have a resource to use, and so they want to go outside and be active and healthy, and also these green spaces and different public areas provide an area for other citizens and people to get together, and that improves social health. So it's kind of all tied together, but the community design is really important for the population's physical health.
So I think this is our last question, but it was also a student, one of the Minnesota student survey questions, so we're able to compare that, I think, on the next slide. But we asked the Eastview student body, comparing 9th and 11th graders, during a typical school day, how many hours do you spend outside, taking a walk, or going for a bike ride? And we found that the vast majority of kids are maybe 1 or none, so most people are not going outside and doing things, and that's kind of surprising. It's not really surprising that we see it a lot higher for 11th graders because we generally have more homework and are more stressed and don't think we have time to go outside and do that sort of thing. However, we would like to see more people taking advantage of that, maybe managing your time better. But I think this was a lot better than the Minnesota student survey results for the state.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty close, but Easter does seem to be a little bit more active than the statewide survey. And either way, both of these are like still unfavorable because we want more kids to be more in the red and blue slices and taking advantage of the resources that the community provides, like its parks and trails and public courts and stuff.
And 11th graders are the ones that are not taking advantage of these and not doing these things the most, but we're actually the ones who need it more. If we're more stressed and have more homework, to go outside and do physical activity helps relieve some of that stress. So we're the ones that should be taking advantage of it more than 9th graders, based on this chart, but it's not showing that.
Another key concept that we have is that good community design promotes social health, and through things like we were talking about earlier, promotion of community events, like we have a ton of events that Apple Valley provides and nobody ever uses them, but if a good community promotes these events, then you get together with your neighbors and you'll socialize instead of just staying home all the time. And bringing the community together and having a tight-knit community can bring everyone together and improve your social health altogether.
Yeah, another key concept is environmental factors does affect your mental stability, I guess. And so really it's like everything around us and everything that surrounds us, so it's community design that affects our mental health. And this can be anywhere from like the poor relations we have with our neighbors, or maybe just like dirty streets. If we could I guess live in a more positive community where we are constantly socially interacting with our neighbors and streets are always clean with street sweepers and stuff, then it would definitely improve our mental health because it gives us like a sense of belonging and something proud we are something proud we are. Okay. Yeah, something we are pride in. Yeah.
Oh, also side note, Celebration Florida is actually what Tom Lovelace, the city planner of Apple Valley, said would be the ideal community. So we asked him like, what would a perfect community look like? And he showed us that. What Celebration Florida is, it's actually a community that Walt Disney made, and so he obviously had all the funds to form it himself, but he said, Tom Lovelace said that it was hard to replicate that just because we don't have that level of intense collaboration anymore, and it's hard to get so many people to come together in such a concerted effort to make something like that happen. So that's why, that's one of the challenges that he said in good community design. We also interviewed Mr. Fisher. We had a little talk with him. He's the Eastview building manager, and he gave us an overview of the waste program at Eastview, and also his past experiences and troubles with composting. So what he said is that there was some, education of the composting program at Eastview, but it was on the flash, and we didn't really know how effective that was if people were to, pay attention even. So we also talked about how Wayzata High School has a really good coordination of waste management, because they have in their lunchroom, they actually have a really laid out system where people are wanting to compost and then recycle this and recycle whatever. So, but ultimately that comes down to money and the lack of it. So, yes.
Yeah, we are like working to like actually try to get Eastview back on composting. We've talked to the building manager, we talked to the district waste manager and a woman from Dakota County who specializes in environmental areas, and it would cost a little bit more for them to pick up the composting in addition to the trash and recycling, but we're working with Dakota County to possibly get a grant on that. I haven't heard back from her yet, but we think if we're able to promote it better and set it up better, like you said, kind of like Wayzata has, they've got a good setup, something like that we could actually get it started and actually have it be more successful than it was.
And besides that initial cost of just for the buying into the composting program, all you have to do is just wheel the bins down to the loading dock from the lunchroom. So it's not that much of a difference. So now we have a class activity.
So we want you all to get out a piece of paper and draw an ideal community.
We just get out a piece of paper and then we're gonna use like 30 seconds, so it'll be quick.
Basically, like draw different features you want to see on it, parts, whatever you want.
Yeah.